Welcome back. And the D in grind stands for deadline. Deadline. Duke Ellington said it best. I don't need more time. What I need is a deadline. I don't need more time. Everybody's got the same amount of time. What I need in order to stop tinkering and twisting and prodding and trying to perfect everything is I need a deadline. The number one killer of all procrastination is the deadline. The number one killer of all procrastination is the deadline. We need that deadline because if you're like me and you're a creative person and you're always thinking of different things and you're a quote unquote perfectionist, you will twist and prod and tinker at your craft for eternity, okay? But you need a deadline. Without a deadline, you'll never just put yourself out there and get better. And the best way to get better is to practice and to perform your craft. That's how you're going to be able to then notice what it takes to reduce your imperfections and get onto your greatness. But you'll never do that without a deadline. I see this all the time in track and field. You know, I come from a track family, been in track and field my entire life, seems like, right? And now my kids are in track and field, and you notice something. When kids are running track and field, and particularly in the distance runs, where they have to go around multiple times, there's a kid that always is coming around the bend, and I mean, the kid is struggling. You almost want to just go out and pick them up and walk them over to their parents and say, just take care of this kid. They're about to pass out. And the kid is just struggling along, and they're barely making it, and they come around the bend for that last time. And then everybody starts kind of clapping them in. Yeah, okay, come on in and clap for them. And then the kid, out of nowhere, who's struggling, looking like they're about to fall over, somehow, some way, perks up when they see the finish line, and they start running, and they start sprinting. And you're going, wait a second. This is the kid that I was physically about to go put him out of his misery and pick him up and walk him over to his parents and say, hey, just take the kid and love on him because they're about to pass out, has somehow now found the energy and the strength to sprint. Why? Because the finish line is a deadline. What the deadline does is it gives you permission to sprint. Why? Because your mind is wired for survival and for satisfaction. That's how your mind is wired. Survival. It will innately hold back all the time just in case you need to use the energy for survival. You will always hold back. But a deadline gives you what? Permission to not hold back anymore. Permission to go all in. Permission to sprint. That's why you have to set a deadline or you will tinker and you will prod and you will twist and you will try to perfect your craft until no end. Set a deadline. Nothing focuses the mind like a deadline. Give yourself permission to sprint. So one of the most common mistakes that I see with this is people try to wait until they're ready. Guess what? You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be fully ready. It's just that's not the way to achieve greatness, is by waiting until you're ready before you do anything. No, you achieve greatness by going through the grind process and embracing your imperfections and putting yourself out there and figuring out what you do great and what you need to do better and how to turn good into awesome and figuring out that whole process. That's how you grind your gift into greatness, is going through this process. You cannot wait until you feel like I've got it all figured out and now I'll go perform. Because guess what? The world is moving too fast nowadays. You have to go and you have to do it now. Because if you wait until you feel like you got it all figured out, guess what? Somebody's going to come out with something innovative and make everything that you thought you knew obsolete, and now you got to start over again. You cannot wait in this day and age. Things are moving too fast. You got to strike, and you got to strike now. You've got to get great. You got to get great now. Your family's dependent on it. Your community is dependent on it. You are dependent on it. Your children are dependent on it. Your coworkers are dependent on it. Your teammates are dependent on it. You have to set a deadline and get your product out there. Put your performance out there. Put yourself out there and do it sooner than later. The sooner the better. The sooner the better. So it's not a deadline until it's on a public calendar, okay? It's not a deadline until it's on a public calendar to where you let everybody know, hey, this is it. This is me. This is what I have. This is what I created. This is what I'm bringing to the marketplace. Here it is. And put it on a public calendar and embrace the imperfections. After you've gone through the grind process, hey, you've noticed what it takes to reduce your imperfections. You still may have some, but at this point, give yourself permission to sprint and just put it out there. Just put it out there. And then you go back and do what? Back to the grind. You go back to the grind again and start to perfect. And that's how you cultivate that seed and turn that seed into greatness. That is how you cultivate that. But you've got to take that step, put it on a public calendar. Do that. Do that now. Find a date, put it on the calendar, give yourself permission to sprint. And I'll see you in the next video.